Well, welcome back. Russia is now considering selling its oil and gas for Bitcoin as Western sanctions increase, the cryptocurrency jumping nearly 4% yesterday, now hovering around $44,000. It's really an important moment to look at crypto as the war unfolds on Ukraine. Joining me right now is the Chamber of Digital Commerce founder and president, Perianne Boring. Perianne, it's great to see you. Is this an important moment? How do you see this in terms of now discussing oil sales in Bitcoin?
I think it's absolutely an important moment for Bitcoin and the entire cryptocurrency marketplace. Bitcoin has really emerged as its own asset class. And the Federal Reserve Bank of St. Louis issued a report in 2018 saying it will best be used for diversification purposes. It's independent of governments, it's independent of states, and it's going to be adopted by many countries around the world. You mentioned sanctions. Obviously, we are all on very high alert. All of our members are on high alert. The entire financial system and all law enforcement is on high alert to ensure sanctions are in place. This does not pose a risk to sanctions evasion. The Treasury, FinCEN, and FBI have all stated that within the past couple of weeks. So sanctions still apply. Law enforcement has the tool to enforce them on cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin, but this is absolutely a breakout moment for Bitcoin. It's very exciting to see this develop on the global stage.
But Perianne, we still don't know the rules of the road, right? I mean, Federal Reserve Chairman Jay Powell said on Wednesday, any new form of digital currency will require new regulations. President Biden put out an executive order. The market rallied on that, maybe because it wasn't as harsh as some expected. What do you think about what you heard from Powell on Wednesday on the digital currency environment, or sort of the backdrop as we await specific rulemaking?
So Chair Powell was alluding to stablecoin regulations. That was a big part of his talk, was around central bank digital currencies and privately issued stablecoins. One of the things that he is concerned about, that he mentioned in his panel discussion yesterday, is systemic risk. Now, let's just maybe take a step back and talk about systemic risk. Generally, this comes from liquidity issues, leverage issues, or operational issues. US-based stablecoin projects are the largest ones, are fully backed one-to-one by cash equivalents, and treasuries. So there are no liquidity issues in the largest US-based stablecoin projects. Further, there is no leverage. So we need to be very careful not to regulate out of fear of the unknown and ensure that we are preserving the United States dominance in this industry.
Great point. All right, let me bring in Lou Bassanese. Go ahead, Lou, jump in.
Look, Perianne, I'm going to play a little bit of devil's advocate here because I'm an emerging tech guy. I think cryptocurrencies represent that. But I think there's some big problems here. If you came to me and pitched an investment and said Russia and Putin and El Salvador are the leading adopters of a new currency and asset, I don't think that gets me involved, everyday people. And I think that's what we need, mass adoption. So I want to put it to you. Is this not more a moment where we need digital currencies per se than really a cryptocurrency? Because we know independence is key, but as soon as it gets regulated, it's no longer independent. So how do you address those concerns and those market tensions? Because as soon as the Fed steps in, Bitcoin's no longer independent if they regulate it.
So in 2013, the then chairwoman of the Fed, Janet Yellen, testified in Congress saying the Federal Reserve does not have jurisdiction over Bitcoin specifically. And now you have to separate Bitcoin from stable coins. They have two very different use cases. Bitcoin's primary use case is a store of value. Stablecoin's primary use case is a payment system. So we're using them for very different things. Now, you kind of talked about some of the countries that are getting behind this. These are some of the early adopters. Bitcoin is only 13 years old. It's still very, very new. And we are starting to see institutional adoption, not just from countries like Russia and El Salvador, but from real institutional players. Goldman Sachs just announced within the past week that they're getting in the space in a very meaningful way. ExxonMobil announced yesterday that they are using excess natural gas to mine Bitcoin. MicroStrategies just announced in the past couple of days that they're buying another 3.5 billion in Bitcoin. So there is institutional demand. We're just on the early side of that adoption curve.
Right. Do you agree, though, that we've got to get to the point where everyday Americans can use this, right? Stable coins, right? That's a payment system. For Bitcoin, for any technology to scale, it has to be used by everyday people like our viewers here. And I would contend that most people here just view it as a speculation. Can Bitcoin ever cross that chasm to where we transact? It's not a store of value because it's volatile as all get out. But can it ever cross that chasm where everyday Americans can say, I can transact and do things in cryptocurrencies? Do you believe that comes, and how long?
So again, Bitcoin, it is a store of value, and that is its main use case because it is a non-correlated asset. It is still early days on the adoption cycle. I think we're on the bottom half of that S-curve, which means there's a lot of opportunities for investors today, but mainstream adoption will come in the next 5 to 10 years.
Yeah, I mean, look, just the fact that Jay Powell, the White House, everyone's talking about the market as well as the potential for Bitcoin and the regulatory framework to come, right there gives you the legitimacy of where this is going. Perianne, it's great to have you, always. Thanks very much for weighing in on that. We'll keep following it. Perianne Boring. We'll be right back. Stay with us.